Are you ready? Did you light the candle? Okay, let's start the ritual. Welcome to Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. This is a space where truth gets its voice back, because shame loses its power when we speak to it. Here, we don't skip the hard parts. We sit with them, and we learn to hold ourselves inside them. This podcast is ritual in audio form, a way for us to bring intention and intuition back into our everyday. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome back to another ceremony or ritual episode of the podcast, although this one is a little bit different and a little special. First of all, my mom is back. She's basically a co-host at this point, and so excited to be doing this with her. And this is going to be our 2025 reflections and processing episode and 2026 intention setting episode. So a really special ritual episode, and it's going to be based off of the ceremony that I wrote out for Substack, but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently because it's on the podcast. So it's not how we typically do our ceremony episodes on the podcast, although that structure might be changing in 2026 anyway. But I hope that you guys will follow along and do this reflecting and processing and intention setting with us. And if you want to take it to your journal and have some more time with it, you can head to the Substack, which is already out, and I will link that in the description. But I wanted to wait to have this episode come out in January because I think that when we're in December, we can feel the pressure to have all our goals set and be in that new year energy and to have it all figured out. But really, I think December is a time to just be fully with what's happening, to be in winter, to be in the holidays, to be with our family, to just be in this pause and have that processing happen. And then the action and the embodiment and the intention setting is more so in January and the months to come. And so I really want to embody that belief that December is not the time to have it all figured out. And I hope you took the holidays to just really be, and I hope you're still in that, because January's definitely still that. And I know that especially when I decided to make the shift to open the space in 2026, part of that is because it just didn't, there's so many reasons, and that'll be a separate episode, but for me, a big intention for this winter season is to be in it and to be in that energy and to be in my little hibernation, in the sense that I am going within and really connecting to myself and that energy and the knowings that can come from what winter holds. So that's that. But I'm going to walk us through this ceremony in a way, and we'll go through it together.
Okay. Can I pour some tea?
Yes, we have our tea, so I'll take a little moment.
They're little pumpkin mugs.
Yeah, I just spilled
So
all
did I.
over the place.
Here.
Oh no. Thank you.
I think I filled it up too much, that's why.
Yeah, it's okay. So I hope everyone will pour themselves a cup of something warm, or just find themselves in a situation that feels warming and cozy and grounding. And we will get started. Cheers, Mommy.
Cheers, sweetheart. That is good.
It's good. We're actually using a tea that I made last year for my sister-in-law for her bridal shower.
Yep. Holly's tea.
Holly's tea. So shout out Holly. She did promise that she's going to come on the podcast this year. So.
Oh, I'm going to be watching that one.
Okay, so we are going to move through we're going to start by moving through the different elements. And for each, we're going to have 3 different sections. And the first is what we are releasing from 2025. The second is what blossomed and grew in 2025. And the third is our intentions and desires for 2026. So those are our sections and kind of the categories. And we're going to start with the air element, which I believe really represents communication. And so for the sake of this ceremony and this processing podcast, we are going to talk about expression, and first starting with, how did you express yourself in 2025? What are some important conversations you had, words you wrote, desires you declared? And so when we come to the first section around releasing, were there any of these experiences, these conversations that felt challenging or that you are ready to let go of when it comes to expression in 2025? I can start if you'd like. When I think back on expression and releasing and conversations, I think for me, I mean, some of it's twofold. I think first what comes up is some conversations, dynamic with people where I'm just where I'm feeling misunderstood and wanting to make sure that people understand me. And releasing that desire. Not necessarily that desire, but just like releasing that. I think that's Theo, he's here too. I think it can stem from this want to feel liked by everyone, and not people pleasing necessarily, but just this like desire for everything to be good. Letting go of needing to over explain myself or like loop back on conversations if I feel like I was misunderstood.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it kind of not only just resonates with me, it now kind of helped me clarify and crystallize about my expression, because it's very much along those lines. I think for a long time, probably as long as I can remember, my intention in almost every meaningful conversation was to be understood. I think it's pretty universal for us humans to want to be understood. And what I am realizing, always growing, always learning, is that what's really important, is that I am communicating from a place of truth, of my own truth, and try to convey that truth as clearly as possible, but that after that, my responsibility for how it is received, both how it's understood and how it's evaluated, ends. That I'm not responsible for that. And when you refer to, is it a people-pleasing motivation initially, but not really, I would say that yes, I think earlier in my life, it was more about I wanted everyone to like me, and being understood was part of that. But I think it's also just sort of feeling like I want to be validated by everybody.
Yeah.
And then what I'm releasing is even that, because I'm really, really looking inward for the validation.
Yeah.
And so if other people get it and acknowledge it and honor it, that's a bonus, and that is important, the most important relationships. But what's of supreme importance is, as I said earlier, I'm speaking from a place of truth, and I am self-validating.
Yeah. I think the validation piece comes up for me as well. And one other thing, I won't elaborate on this for sake of time, but another piece that I'm releasing when it comes to expression is seeking validation, or I guess seeking validation around the work I put out in the world. Like, obviously I want my business to grow, or I want more people to read what I'm writing because that matters to me, and that's okay. But I don't need to feel like it's failing if I put out a piece of writing and my Substack doesn't grow,
Right, exactly.
So I'm releasing that as well.
Okay.
So still in the expression piece, the next section, what are some of these experiences around communication and the air element that you are proud of, or that really highlight your growth or help remind you of your power?
What comes up is my growth and feeling more sort of in my power in my work as a therapist. And whereas earlier on in my career, kind of continuing from the first aspect of this air piece, was I need to be able to help everyone, and I need to effect change for everyone. Otherwise, I go into a spiral of self-doubt. I've released that. It's an onward process, but so what happens the more I release that and the more confident I get in my communication professionally is that I find that I really am, sort of moving the needle in people's lives, and I'm not looking for it as much because I'm not relying as much on certain, sort of metrics of this means I did the right thing for them. There is a knowingness. And so that has helped me feel more confident, I guess you could say powerful, more of an authority. And I think it's been just continuing to be so rewarding.
Yeah, I love that. I say to people that I feel like you were very lucky in life in the sense that you always knew and were connected to these two main purposes in your life, being a therapist and being a mother, and you were really able to actualize that. And it's been really cool also to see you step into the therapy role. I know you did it earlier in life too, but now even more so again.
Right, and when I was
reconnecting again.
Thank you. Well, first of all, that means a lot to me, and you probably didn't see it as much as you were growing up because I kind of put it on pause, and I really was immersed in the other piece.
Yeah.
Okay, which it was the most important.
For me, what I'm proud of when it comes to communication, I think I just value communication so much, and there have been many situations from 2025 where it would have been really easy to sweep things under the rug or not say something or just let there be some sort of elephant in the room with many different relationships. And instead I really decided to just speak it out and talk through things with people and bring it up even if it was uncomfortable or even if I wasn't sure how people were going to respond, and just really be the one to communicate and talk about it.
That is so important, and that is such a significant milestone of growth for you, which has been thrilling for me to witness.
Thrilling. Okay, section 3. How do you want to express yourself in 2026? So how do you intend to show up in conversation and communication in this next year? How do you want to speak to yourself, your friends, your clients? How do you want to write, sing, act, share?
I think going deeper into this, knowing what my truth is and putting it out there unapologetically without all kinds of equivocations and worrying about where it's going to land. It's never a worry that it's going to be harmful to anybody. It's always sort of been, as I said, the opposite, that I wanted it to be uniformly just understood the way I had in my head that I wanted. And now it's more, knowing myself and knowing what's important. And I think part of that also for me has been, and you can tell me if you think that you've seen this or I'm curious, is to, I think, be more discerning and kind of taciturn in what I communicate. Not that I want to be withholding, but I've always had as a goal to be more of a listener. And part of that has been less of a verbal participant. So I'm working on that.
Yes. For me, I think continuing to lean into what I was just sharing, continuing to be the one who is comfortable saying the things, and obviously I'm always doing it with intention and presence and self-awareness and compassion, but just continuing to speak up and talk through things and just valuing how important my voice is. And I think that also comes to the podcast and Substack and other areas of my work, but just continuing to lean into my communication and not being afraid of how people will perceive it.
Right.
Is a big part of it too.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, on to the next element, which will be fire. And for that, we're talking about action. So this is, what did you do in 2025? What are some activities, adventures, experiences you had? And for the first section, this is, what is one experience you are ready to release and let go of?
I have to think about that. I think, what an activity. Well, tell me if there's something else you had in mind, but...
It could be literally anything.
Okay, so an activity, kind of also continuing... Or an experience would be, it does kind of take the air to the fire, because I would be in a situation, maybe a workshop or a book group or a session or in relationships socially, and feel very passionate about something and say something with conviction, right? And then would come that, I guess, what Brene Brown calls the vulnerability hangover. I revealed too much, I said too much, I wasn't understood. If I'm thinking about that as the activity, the ruminating, self-critical activity, releasing it. I'm trying really hard so it's a kind of version of an activity.
For me, I think I mean, some of it comes back to what I didn't do. Like, I think that I want to release the anxiety, shame, guilt, fill in the blank, around certain goals I thought I would reach or wanted to reach in 2025, and that didn't come to fruition yet, and letting that go and being okay with that.
Absolutely.
Second section, what is one experience or action that you want to celebrate and remember from 2025? It's so crazy also to think of the year as a whole, because I look back, I'm like, oh my God, that happened in like January, but that's still... That's
right. I think, you and I did a lot of fun things together.
Yeah, we did.
And thanks to you, we did them.
I'm the initiator.
You are, and we said yes. So yes. I'm glad about that, and we created beautiful memories. They were all, they were around music, around the mountains, and being together and festivals. And yeah, I just like, when I want to sort of fill myself with warmth of memories, I go to those memories.
Yeah, well, more of those.
Yes, for sure.
I think those are, when I think about remembering, those are definitely the moments from 2025 I want to remember. And I think I also, when it comes to celebrating a moment, probably signing the lease to my space, because even though that feels like so long ago, and part of my releasing is letting go of certain aspects that didn't come to fruition yet.
Oh, that's a milestone.
I think I often don't celebrate moments like that, and so taking the time to acknowledge that. What do you want to do in 2026?
I think I want to, and I probably have said this in other conversations, but still try novel experiences, or ones, maybe they're not completely novel, but ones that have been put on pause. And they can range from travel to continuing at classes to just doing some sort of out of my comfort zone activity. I really and truly want to participate more in maybe community-oriented things. I really lean into that.
I love that. I'll hold you to that.
Thank you.
I hope we do some of those together.
Yes, definitely.
What do I want to create in 2026? I mean, I want Intuitively Wild to become... I want to work towards that. Like, I want it to become the vision I'm holding for it, or to at least be growing in that direction. And I want to, just be in that space and devoting my action towards that.
Right.
Next is the earth element, which is about support and grounding. So what grounded you in 2025? And when it comes to the first section, maybe more accurately, where and when, or why and how did you not feel supported and grounded in 2025?
I felt pretty supported. I think that what ungrounds me shakes me up, is when life throws really challenging curveballs, which of course it does. And some of the ones that happened this past year, a couple of them, were tragic and seemed without warning, and really did make me question so many things about life. So I think that, and is the second part, or should I wait?
So section 2, I guess you can do them at the same time if you want, because those are ways that you did feel supported and grounded.
So is the second part. And the way that I did get through all that is by coming home, not just to my own heart and my own sort of rituals of meditation, but to my family, to the people that, really are my heart.
Yeah.
You and your dad and your brothers, Ali. I mean, coming back to just, and just to add one thing that really helped me. Oh, is there a section for like an action? Or can I just give you an action?
Okay, so the first section is when you didn't feel supported and grounded, and why. The second is when you did, and just remembering that and celebrating that. And then the third section is how do you want to feel and be supported in 2026. One very specific way I didn't always feel supported in 2025 was actually with therapy, because it took a while to find, I had to switch therapists at the end of 2024. And it really took up until just the end of 2025 to find someone who I felt supported by. And so I think that those months of transition and not having a therapist or working with someone who wasn't quite right, I think they impacted me more than I realized. So that's sometimes how I didn't feel supported. And sometimes I didn't feel grounded just because there was a lot of uncertainty and lack of control, and life just sometimes left me feeling ungrounded. But ways I was supported and grounded, definitely you and Dad. I mean, I think this year made me so grateful that we live closer again and can see each other more, and I really let myself lean into that and
so grateful.
Spend time with you guys and to just like be together. And also my friends who I love so much, and sending all the voice notes and just spending time with more people. So. And then how do you want to feel and be supported in 2026?
To recognize the abundance of love and support I have with my family, and just continue to show gratitude for that and embrace it and cherish it. And that is a gift that, there's no greater.
Yeah, I think for me as well, like leaning into in-person connect. I'm definitely continuing to be supported by you and Dad and family and friends who I already have there, but I think then taking that further and around creating the community for Intuitively Wild and finding grounding and supporting their support there, and hopefully having that be a place that other people feel grounded and supported, and that providing that kind of support to others helps me feel more grounded. And so I really want to lean into that, and also just connecting with more people in person in general. And then also continuing my deep connection with myself and nature, because that's like the whole root of it all for
foundation.
me. And now we are on to the last element, spirit, which is about our spirituality. So how did you transform and grow in 2025? What identities shed or shifted or evolved? Who did you become? When it comes to the first section, what is an identity or moment of transformation that you are ready to fully release?
Spiritually, I think, letting go of any kind of, and again, it's a work in progress, but being aware of how much just by autopilot I rely on external feedback for how to determine how I feel about myself. I mean, and I'm someone who's been aware of that for a very long time and worked on it, and yet it is really, can be almost reflexive, automatic. So by spending more time in meditation and prayer with myself, allowing for me to listen to inner voices and to feel the energy of, I think, ancestral energy and divine energy, by tuning out the artificial noises, I think that has really helped me stay grounded and true to myself.
Mm-hmm. So for me, an identity or moment of transformation that I'm ready to fully release, I think for me it comes back to feeling not good enough or not ready to step into the version of myself living my dreams. And the version of myself being the business owner at Intuitively Wild that I want to be, or being the person in relationship that I want to be, being the version of myself that I worked so hard to become and still am evolving into. But I think a lot of what holds me back from fully embodying it in the world is my belief that I'm not ready yet or not good enough yet. So that's what I am releasing. And then for the second section, what is a way you grew in 2025 that you are proud of or wish to hold on to and continue to grow into?
I think I kind of merged them.
Yeah, you keep doing that.
Yeah, because they're so connected. So just to be clear succinctly, releasing still the tendency to look for validation externally and to lean more into my intuition.
Yeah.
That's really it.
And I mean, mine kind of leads into the next, because I do think I grew a lot in embodying who I want to be and in becoming who I want to be. And this version of myself who I need to be in order to build the life I want to build. And so I want to lean into that becoming even more and just own it. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay, section 3. How do you hope to transform and grow in 2026?
I want to be even more assertive. I want to be even more emboldened to be just unapologetic and unafraid to try new things, to speak my mind, with, at the same time, with sensitivity and compassion for those around me. But I really, really, want to use my voice more.
I love that. I mean, again, it just is kind of what I just said, but in 2026, I hope to really just step into this next version of self. I feel like I've been sewing the clothes and like trying them on and then taking them off and then like wearing them but not like zipping it up, just like
we need a fashion show.
And I feel like I just want to like put on the new clothes and let them morph into my skin,
I like that.
And so I really hope that at the end of 2026, I look back and just like see who I am in this business I built and the relationships I've connected to, and just like really feel like I became myself. Okay, so there is a really, really powerful ritual to do in alignment with all of this on the Substack, and my mom and I we will be doing this around New Year's Eve, so we will already have done that part. But for the sake of this podcast, we'll move on to another section. So for this next part, from our reflections, we're going to choose something to declare right now that we are going to let go of for this year. And this is not out of rigidity and restriction. This is honestly for the opposite, for the sake of replenishment and regeneration and renewal and connection, but really being devoted to this for ourselves. So something that you feel confident that you can either release right now and just state it and draw a line in the sand, or have this year be a process of releasing it.
Okay, well, it's definitely going to be a process.
Yeah, probably.
And it's going to be releasing worry that I said the wrong thing or I wasn't exactly what somebody wanted me to be. As long as I am proceeding from a place of authenticity and integrity, that I'm releasing the worry that that's not good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this feels challenging because I think that there are a lot of different things that I could say for this and that I need to work on releasing. So I'm trying to think about the root of one, or one that will feel I can confidently declare right now. I think I want to work on releasing doing things that drain my energy.
That's important.
Yeah, I think sometimes I can get still caught up in doing things for productivity or to prove I'm doing enough, or just to, that fall back on old patterns and old behaviors. Mm-hmm. I think I can still, have this could be a whole other podcast and I won't go into the whole psyche of it, but I think sometimes feeling good and energized and joyful can feel strange in my body and can feel foreign and unsafe. And so sometimes that leads me to behaviors of like just depleting my energy or pushing myself in certain ways that aren't helpful or healthy. So I think, just releasing that.
Important.
Now we're going to move into our overarching intention for 2026. So from all that we just talked about and processed and gained clarity on, what do you feel is an overall intention that you can set for 2026? And then we've been doing this ritual together for a while. We'll set an intention, and then from that we'll choose one word to come back to throughout the year and to allow that word kind of be our guide for that year. And I don't know if either of us have our word for 2026 yet, but I think we can kind of declare an overarching intention and then maybe like dance around the word, see what comes, see what other words come up around it, and then we can let that settle and maybe share with you guys what word comes for us in the next couple weeks. But how does that sound for you?
That sounds good.
So overarching intention.
So overarching intentions, very much based on this conversation and, ongoing reflections, is to continue to enter this world and relationship and work confidently and mindfully, and talk as much this time about, staying very present with what's around me and tuning into how that is making me feel, and wherever possible, the other overarching intention is to, without glossing over feelings of grief or sadness, which I never gloss over, what I want to do more of is connect with the joy of the simple things, of the big things, and just let that wash over me. When you and I sometimes we laugh where we can't breathe. Yeah, more of that.
Yeah, I want more of that too. Do you have any words that come to mind to be kind of like your North Star with that?
It's a hyphenated word, self-trust.
Yeah.
That's what, because from self-trust comes all those things. If I trust myself, self-belief, confidence, all of that. We decide that confidence means going with trust, and with trust in myself, that if I proceed with those North Stars, that what I take in is what I need to take in, what I put out is what the world needs me to put out.
Yeah, I love that. And just to explain, one reason I think it's so important to have one word is because it just is something that we can repeat to ourselves time and time again. It's really easy to keep in the back of our mind and to come back to, and also to then affirm to ourselves in the present tense. Always suggest is making a vision board or just like some sort of way to write this word down and maybe decorate it, make it pretty, or just write the word and put it on your mirror and say every day, I trust myself, or I am working on trusting myself. And so I think it's important to do it on the days that you feel good about it, and also even more so on the days that you don't.
You're shaky, right?
But having one word really allows us to make that a daily ritual, and it's really simple and just becomes part of our everyday toolkit, part of our everyday energy too. And for me, I think my overarching intention for 2026 is, I think that there are two, and one kind of leads into the next, but to really be, I think for me it comes back to confidence too, like being confident and therefore trusting who I am and what I'm doing and that I'm ready for it. And I think that that leads into the maybe even more overarching intention, which is to stay connected to truth. And if you guys listened to the community reflections of 2025, I read the Substack, I shared mine and went into this reflection in a little bit more detail there. But when I say truth, I don't just mean like my truth, like the authenticity of who I am or that kind of line of thinking, but I just mean the truth, like the essence and energy of truth. I really think it's more so a feeling, and I think that it's kind of like connecting to spirit or God or the universe, finding my connection to source, and that energy of truth, and then letting that lead me back to myself, letting that lead me back to my path, and knowing that that allows me to quiet the noise and the overwhelm and the anxiety, and it allows me to be so focused on the truth of life, and also connect to my intuition and all the messages and the knowings.
And that's that spiritual part we talked about earlier. Yeah.
So I think for me, it's staying connected to truth, to that truth. And so, I don't know, there's a lot of different wording I can use for that. I don't know the one word I want to pick for 2026 yet. I don't know if I want it to be truth, because I think that can have different meanings at different times. And of course, it's about what the word means to me. But I think connected to my spirituality in that sense will allow me to then step into all the other intentions I have for the year. I picture like my feet on the earth and light entering my feet and kind of like lighting up my being.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
And that's that connection. And staying focused on that. Always.
I love that.
So, kind of rambling, but that's kind of me still processing and figuring it out.
Yeah, me too.
And I still have to figure out the exact word, but when it comes, I'm sure I will write about it and share.
Look forward to that.
I know that I will be writing it down and making a little vision board for it. It's also interesting, my word for 2025 was purpose. And I think that I've had moments where I am feeling like that didn't happen for me in 2025. I don't feel like I fully connected to my purpose. But I feel like 2025 is what paved the way for me to do so. And just like I feel like I've talked about a lot in the last few months, and has felt reflected in other people's stories as well, around how 2025 was this shedding year and this emptying the space, this like excavation year to pave the way for what's to come. And it's like in between year. And so I feel like this was the year that I kind of chose my purpose, or like connected to it in a sense, and then let the rest fall away so that I can now like step into it and embody it in 2026.
Well, that makes so much sense because, I mean, this could be a whole and another conversation about sort of what the essence of purpose, the word purpose, it's very dynamic.
No, for sure, but I think I'm leaning, like, this is what it means to me. Yeah. But I get where you're going with that, but I think that I had kind of worked, when I chose the word purpose, it was based on what it means to me. I think that, in a way, purpose kind of guided my path in 2025, even though it didn't come to the full fruition. It didn't necessarily take the shape I thought it would. I think it took the shape it needed to for it to now take the shape I wanted to.
Right. You know? And I guess what I was just saying is that you could almost substitute the word guide for purpose. Your purpose isn't a concrete, sort of commodity at the end of the day. It is that which guides you towards all that makes you feel fulfilled and purposeful.
Yeah.
So that's
I think I didn't always feel purposeful or connected to my purpose. I think that's like where the disappointment or self-judgment comes in. But I do think that purpose guided my path.
Right.
Purpose was my guiding light. It just wasn't, it was a different layer. I didn't get to like the deeper layer and like embodiment of the purpose, but it was the beginning layers of it, if that makes sense.
Yes, very much so.
I think that the connection to truth will allow me to step into that. I feel like
lots to think about.
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like I felt a little bit all over the place in this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
But I think that that's partially because there's a lot to process. And I think we're both still processing the year in that space of coming to...
And in real time.
Yeah, I think that we really took it to real time.
We really did. We're doing it, impromptu here.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this together before, or like I haven't even done my own journaling really around all of this or done this ceremony for myself fully yet, which will come after. And usually we do that before, but I think it's kind of nice that I'm interested how you guys feel to like really watch us grapple and process with it all in real time. But this is where we are now.
That's right. And it goes back to the very beginning of this podcast conversation, which had to do with expressions and communication. That's what's helping us kind of crystallize our ideas about these things.
I definitely look forward to continuing to share as things evolve and hopefully have my co-host, Mom, keep coming on to share.
Pleasure.
And especially as the spring equinox gets closer, and that's really, for me, the energetic new year, and a lot will be happening in March around the spring equinox. So I think that will be a time when things around intentions for 2026 will start to really come to clarity. So we'll share more of that.
That's right. I look forward to that.
But I would really, really, really love to hear what this brought up for all of you, if you guys do the full ceremony, and what your reflections and intentions are, what your word is for 2026, and just any other thoughts and feelings that you want to share. And thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.